Welcome to another edition of Between Two FARS. I'm Warneke Miller, here once again with the illustrious Robert Tepfer. And we're going to talk to you a little bit today about exchanges with offerors after the receipt of proposals. FAR 15.306 talks a lot about this, and today's topic is the differences between discussions and clarifications. Bob, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, discussions are normally used to enhance a proposal, and you do that after you establish a competitive range of the most highly rated proposals, and it gives insight to a contractor as to perhaps deficiencies or significant weaknesses, and you can elect to tell them of weaknesses as well. And then they get the information. Normally you don't improve their proposal, you simply alert them to those aspects, the weaknesses, the significant weaknesses, and deficiencies, and then they respond with how they remedy, at least hopefully.
So after discussions, the offeror could change their proposal, change a price or a methodology within the original proposal?
Absolutely, and the ability to revise your proposal is what distinguishes it from clarifications. Clarifications are supposedly that. In other words, if it's an issue of clerical error or something along those lines, sometimes you might point to a mathematical mistake in their proposal, and theoretically, by definition, that's not changing their proposal. It's a very thin line there, because obviously if they go and correct their numbers, they're going to be changing their proposal. But a lot of times the cure for that, when it's ascertained at the beginning of the evaluation, is to put it in with discussions, and by doing that there can't be any argument that you should go back for another final proposal revision and get everybody an opportunity to cure any kind of weakness or deficiency.
All right, help me understand a little bit the difference between clarification and discussion.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I am not yet in the competitive range, can I have discussions?
Well, when you have discussions, you establish the competitive range. That's a
Okay.
real problem if you go ahead and do that without formally having it established.
All right, so before the establishment of competitive range,
Right.
you can only have a clarification.
That's right.
Okay, and those clarifications have to be minor clerical errors or clarifications of something that's unclear?
Right. Yeah. From a professional standpoint, I would tell folks that in the vast majority of cases you ought to go ahead and do it with discussions to eliminate any argument that you mischaracterized it, that it should have been a discussion as opposed to clarification. Now, if you have discussions, you have the final proposal revision comes in, and then you say, wow, I need to fix this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is it a clarification or is it a discussion? That becomes a very sensitive issue, because you can't have another round of discussions without having it with everybody.
Oh.
And so clarifications, you can go ahead and do that.
So that's another difference. Discussion is with everybody within the competitive range, but clarifications could be for a single proposal that has some sort of gray area, maybe an ambiguous term or an ambiguous phrase, and you need clarification
Right.
on what it means.
Right. And you really have a third category of what can be communications, and that deals with issues of responsibility. Responsibility issues relate to the contractor, not to the proposal, which clarifications or discussions would relate to.
And that's our favorite Part 9 responsibility
That's
determination
right.
done by the contracting officer?
Done by the contracting officer,
Right.
but discussions should be held by the contracting officer as well. But the responsibility determination doesn't have to occur until any time up until the time of award.
Okay.
So, and it can relate to capability, capacity, issues of integrity, even an accounting system. And it's not necessarily a defect. You wouldn't have to have it with everybody. You can be simply verifying that prior to the time of award.
Terrific. Well, there you have it. Those are some of the communications that you can have with your offerors prior to the establishment and after the establishment of the competitive range. Thank you for joining us, and come back again for the next edition of Between Two FARS.